Teenager therapy, because we have problems too.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Teenage Therapy. I'm Gael.
I'm Kayla.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Mark.
And welcome back to episode 120, 130? 130. As you can see, we still have the same mics that we did before. So that is by the next podcast we should have new mics.
Yes, y'all are not ready.
I know you guys are not ready for that change in quality.
Expensive mics.
I know, getting the big upgrades here. Today's topic is one that I think is interesting and really important because there's a lot of people that get canceled for this and a lot of debate over, is it stupid? Is it bad? Are we just being sensitive? And that's culture appropriation versus culture appreciation.
Yes.
So, how do you begin this? Okay, I think maybe we should just begin with our thoughts on what we think of it.
What do you think of it, or like what it is?
Well,
should we say what it is?
Okay, so culture appropriation is like taking elements from a culture that isn't yours and just using them in a disrespectful, ignorant, or just stereotypical way. And culture appreciation is honoring, respecting, and learning about another, culture's practices or beliefs. And that's a very thin line, I think. I think when we're talking about culture appreciation, I don't know. I think there's a very thin line between appreciation and appropriation.
And it's like really difficult to make that line when you aren't a part of that culture. Because you can't really speak on it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like not your role to like draw that line. It's the person, whoever's in that culture's role.
Because you don't know if it is respectful or disrespectful.
Yep.
I guess okay, so let's give some examples of appropriation. And we did a whole doc, right? Here are some. Non-black people wearing cornrows, box braids, and dreadlocks. This one's interesting because I see a lot of debate about it.
Me too. I see a lot of debate of like where it originated, and a lot of people say like it belongs to natives. Some say it's like different parts of the world. There's always a debate. Like no one ever knows
where it came from.
Where it came from, and so it's a battle of like who gets to claim it as their own first. And then there's the whole argument that it's only a hairstyle, right?
Yeah, it's only a hairstyle, which it's interesting.
It's interesting because obviously there's history behind it, but people try to use like that same logic against them, and they're like, "Well, you guys straighten your hair. That's white people hair," and it's just, it's a really like weird argument.
Okay, so
I did. Sorry.
Quick disclaimer: if we say something that's wrong or that isn't like true or just like ignorant or not educated, please like DM us at Teenage Therapy anywhere on socials or leave a comment. This is probably going to be more of just a discussion of our thoughts, not necessarily like complete like facts and research and statistics and stuff like that.
I was watching this YouTube video about cultural appropriation versus appreciation, and surprisingly, like a lot of comments were basically saying that like cultural appropriation is basically like it's dumb. Saying that like, well, then what about Western culture? Like about people that wear skinny jeans and straighten their hair, how Isaac was saying. And there was surprisingly a lot of people that were agreeing, and I was surprised because I had never heard that side of the argument.
Same people who say all lives matter, dude.
So I was just like taken aback, kind of.
I think what like kind of like is odd is so it's like, I guess maybe like, okay, so let's say like a hairstyle, a certain hairstyle. In this example, I guess we'll use like box braids, dreadlocks, or cornrows, right? So is there a way to wear that hairstyle and not be appropriating?
I was literally thinking about that question. I think I wrote it down somewhere in the document, but it's like, what if like a white girl and like she's fully aware of the history behind like box braids. She's like talked to her, black friends about it, and they're like, yeah, like you can do it. Is she actually like still allowed to do it.
See, it's such a difficult and complicated assertion to make because you have one, like this group of people from the same culture who's, saying you can as long as, blah, 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 you learn about it. But then there's another group from that same culture who's saying, no, you can't at all. And so you don't know
Exactly.
who to really listen to. And I think it's just, you're going to, like, there's not one, like, actual answer, like, right or wrong, I guess. But
I
from my understanding, I don't think you can.
right. I was gonna say maybe like cornrows and stuff is like an odd example because I feel like you could just easily like just not wear them, right? Just avoid them. Like it's
Mhm.
not like
Yeah.
you're not gonna die if you can't wear cornrows on your hair. I think what let's say you like love Mexican culture. You're just absolutely fascinated by it and you decide to like wear just very traditional Mexican clothing that maybe isn't like tied to any like cultural beliefs or religious, but it's just kind of like it's traditional Mexican clothes. Is that cultural appropriation?
What do you mean by like traditional?
Um, let's see. Let me see if there's like a more common example.
Because I,
So-
I have an example.
Yeah.
So in Vietnamese culture, there's this kind of dress attire that's called an ao dai. Hopefully I said that right, or my Viets are gonna come after me. But it's this cultural dress. I'm not gonna explain it. You guys can look it up. But I saw that someone was wearing it on TikTok and they got a lot of shit for it. And it's complicated because I'm not like that all in touch with my culture, but I was, reading all the comments and looking at all the sides of, just everyone. And people were saying, you can't wear it. You're not Vietnamese, so you cannot wear it. But then there's other people who were saying that you can wear it because you are wearing it for this specific reason. Like you're part of, like your husband is Vietnamese, so therefore you can wear it. And it's,
I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's different. Like
that makes sense.
her husband's Vietnamese, and like he's like she's a part of the culture now, so I think it's
That
fine
makes-
as long
that
as she's
makes sense.
respecting it.
I think as long as you have like a good reason
Yep.
to wear it,
Like
it's-
not just for fashion, like because sometimes people will like sexualize a lot of traditional clothing as well.
Mm.
Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but like on TikTok and stuff, I forgot what it was called, but it's like that one Chinese dress.
The one that's like
You're like supposed to wear it with
a Q
pants.
pow or
Yeah,
something.
I don't know how to pronounce the Q's in Chinese. Like I know it's different.
I think I said that wrong. So
Yeah,
don't come
that-
after me.
But yeah, like I think you're supposed to wear that like with like pants or whatever. But a lot of like people like
know.
don't wear it with them,
I see.
and so it's like
I
very
remember seeing that,
sexualized,
yeah.
Yeah, and, I can
and
see
that's
how
just bad.
I
Like
can
that's
see how
terrible.
very disrespectful to the culture.
Just wearing it wrong in general, like is horrible, and then to make it a sexual,
Yeah.
like
From there, then
Yeah.
it just shows that you're not being educated
mhm,
enough.
yeah.
And like the comments are like, "Oh, it's just they're confident." I'm like, "What? What?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Like no, stop."
Okay, so let's
Wrap
see
it up.
another example is okay, so in Mexico there's like lots of different cultures tied to like very indigenous people. And there's a lot of like dresses, for example. Dresses. I think Kayla knows about them. We talked about how we like, the very flowy dresses.
Are they called floticos or something?
I don't know
like
what
that?
they're called, but it's the ones
I
that
know
you
which
have
ones.
you have your
Yeah,
hands and you can move
yeah.
them around.
Yeah,
And there's various different types of those dresses, which I guess are tied to like a certain, just their customs.
Mhm.
So would it be disrespectful if you like love Mexican culture and you're like, you know what, I want to wear this dress?
I think if just for like fashion, yeah. But if you're trying to like do the dances and stuff and like
Mhm.
participate in culture, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think
So then-
think that's fine.
So then what about cornrows? Is there a way to participate in that culture? And if there isn't, then is it like,
I get you.
how does that work then?
It's weird because there's like certain cultural aspects that are like more taboo than others, and especially like because certain races face like a lot of like different history behind them. Like for
Mm.
cornrows and stuff, like I read like, have you seen like the history behind it and
I
stuff?
think there is some, but I forgot what it was.
Like I forgot completely as well, but I just know
There's
there's like
history sometimes,
there's like
right?
more strict, it's like stricter negative history behind it than a traditional Mexican cultural
And that's why
dress does.
that's why some you
Mm.
can't appreciate.
Yeah.
Because like it'd be wrong to
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Adele wore cornrows.
I did
saw
see that. I was taken aback by it, and I didn't know if I knew there was gonna be comments about it, but
When was this?
it was like for some festival,
When?
like I don't remember.
Was that like a long time?
No, it was.
Very
She
recent.
posted it like maybe sometime last year, I think, but I don't know.
When Justin Bieber wore dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that picture. I was like, what?
That was very
Right
controversial.
now on TikTok, I'm seeing this thing about like this waist thing that goes around your.
Oh yes, are you?
It's
Yeah,
yeah, and I just see a lot of controversy about that.
What's
because I think I don't even know what culture it originates from. Is it Indian culture?
I thought it was African.
Again, I don't know what culture it originated from, but basically, the person using it was basically just putting it on as an accessory, as a like a fashion
Yeah.
statement thing,
Mhm.
not really because they wanted to like appreciate the culture.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I saw a TikTok earlier today. And it was Sienna wearing.
Yeah, that's
wearing
that's what
it.
I was
What was she
referring
wearing?
to.
It was like
The
this.
stomach bead?
Yeah, the waist thing.
Oh,
I don't
I've
know.
seen that a lot. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people on
Yeah.
TikTok do that.
And then this girl like duets the video, and she's like, "This is offensive. Like, you can't do this, you know." And then someone duets that same video saying that actually no, you can't. You need to, learn more about Western African culture. I think something like that, and it's just like so much
Yeah.
disagreement, and so many people are offended, but a lot of other people accept it and embrace it, and it's just difficult.
Right. Because some people say like, oh, like they like when you wear their culture and show like you like are interested in
Mhm.
it and you like it, and then some people are like, no, if you're not part of it, don't do it. Period. So, who's to say who's right?
Exactly.
How do you guys feel? I feel like if I saw someone wearing something from my culture, I would think it's like.
I
think
honestly,
I wouldn't mind. I think it'd be cool because like they're like
as long as
making
it's
it.
being respectful.
Yeah, as long as they're not like sexualizing or doing something like dumb, I think it's fine.
As long as I mean, yeah, just for a good reason, like an event that they're invited to,
Yeah.
and it's cultural.
Mm.
I could see it, but
You know what's a fine line though that I was thinking about?
Yeah.
Is there's a lot of clothing styles or just style in general that's like specific to certain cultures. Like a lot of Mexican culture is embroidery and bright colors and like, flowers and
I've
stuff.
seen it.
And I think in Chinese culture they use a lot of like symbols and like dragons and stuff.
Mhm.
And so there's, different cultures have different aspects such as those. So if when designers specifically like take designs that are inspired by Mexican culture or Japanese culture, Korean culture, is that culture appropriation? Is it inspiration? Is it like appreciation? I don't know.
I think taking inspiration's fine. Like
That's
you're
what I
using it
don't know.
respectfully, because you know how we're talking about how like fashion, like sometimes certain parts of a culture, certain things you can't wear because they're sacred.
Yeah, those I agree.
But like
right?
if it's like symbolism, like you could put it like on clothing. If you put it on fashion, as long as you do it like respectfully, it's like on like just a regular
That's-
piece.
no,
nothing,
but like imagine
crazy.
it like this. Imagine like a white designer taking inspiration from like traditional Japanese clothing or whatever, or like Chinese clothing, or like Muslim clothing, and like taking like parts of it and like putting it into his own pieces and being like, yeah, this was inspired by like Mexican and Japanese culture. You think that's appropriating, or is that like appreciating the cultures?
it's
Because
difficult.
because-
It's
That's difficult.
difficult
I
to
feel like-
answer.
Like at the same time too, you don't know like their true intention because like
Yeah.
they're making money off of it too.
Yeah.
And
And
what are they doing with that money? Like, are they giving back to
True,
that
yeah.
culture?
I think, like,
or,
I just feel like there's so many white designers and
Mm-hmm.
just so many people who profit off of cultural like things. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
they
Like,
sell. Yeah.
sorry. Like, for example, I remember in elementary, everyone used to get them. You guys know dream catchers?
Mhm.
People
Mhm.
always used to get those. Like, I go to a friend's house and it'd be there. And he was like the whitest person I knew. I'd just be so confused. I'm like, do you even know what it is? He's like, no. But I see it in movies. I'm like, huh?
wait,
Like-
in high school, my brother made a dream catcher, like for a class.
For a class, they
Cancel.
probably learned like the history behind it and they made it. Like,
okay. I was
but
like, my
the thing I
brother.
saw or I read is like, you know how people can take inspiration to make clothing, right?
Yeah.
It'd be a lot better if you bought it from someone of like that culture. Sometimes it can be very hard to find someone of the same culture making their own clothing because a lot of designers are just like white or whatever.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm thinking about in this example, Thomas? Is, you know, like that one Netflix show when she made a dress inspired by like Frida Kahlo and like
Oh, what's it called? Next in fashion.
yeah. You see, like
Because she wasn't making a cultural attire
exactly.
piece, but she was taking inspiration from cultural artists. So I
Uh-huh.
think that's fine.
exactly that's what I
But
okay.
it's not like she's selling like a Mexican dress. Like that's the difference, I think.
Yeah, that's what's like weird to me. Like, let's say you I don't know. I think there's a difference between I don't even know how to explain it because cultural designs versus like sacred religious cultural
Yeah.
traditions, right?
There's just not like a definitive answer. It's like one of those topics where there's always gonna be people that agree or disagree,
Yeah.
and it's just down to like people's true intent.
Like some people think like you shouldn't take like inspiration from them in your fashion
Yeah.
and your lives.
Mhm.
It should be like stick to your own. And some people being like, yes, it's good like to like,
Mhm.
normalize different cultures. Like I think there could be a lot of good if suddenly like millions of people in the US adopted a lot of like Muslim culture, right? That's something
Yeah.
that's still seen as very taboo. So like what would the effects of adopting like Muslim culture worldwide do to that culture? It probably would normalize it more to like foreigners. Could that be a good thing in terms of like, wearing it and appreciating it, I guess?
I mean, they are converting to that religion.
True,
So
because like
yes.
things like Muslim culture, you can't just. I feel like you can't just act out like certain parts. Like you would have to like
Educate
follow the
all of it
religion and educate
Yeah.
yourself.
in order.
Because certain cultures are like very religious, and you have to follow. You can't just like, oh, I'm gonna go over here and do this once and then dip.
You can't like cherry pick what you want to follow. and
Yes,
believe in.
that's what I saw. It's like certain parts you want to do, certain parts you don't want to do, and it's just saying like only certain parts of the culture are like it's like attractive to you.
It's like white girls wearing jade bracelets and
Yep.
Buddha necklaces.
Good example.
What are jade bracelets?
It's like
The little
it's-
green stone.
Yeah, my mom had one, but
don't
I
know.
saw a lot of people getting it as like kind of like a trend, and then they got a lot of backlash for it.
So, one of the questions is like what we just talked about, which is like, are educational and awareness reasons sufficient justification for wearing traditional clothing and accessories?
So
Wait, repeat it.
Are educational and awareness reasons sufficient justifications for wearing traditional clothing and accessories?
So, like for example, pretending I say I'm gonna wear this because I want to educate others about this culture. Would that
Mhm.
be like justified?
Yeah.
Basically.
Maybe some people might say like, oh, it's not your place to bring awareness to this.
Exactly. It should be like the people of their own culture, right?
Yeah.
But what if the people within that culture don't have enough like
A platform.
power or a platform to speak about it?
Exactly. That's the difficult part. That's really difficult part.
Mm-hmm.
But also,
Maybe that's like a savior complex, no?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, it's not really your like place to bring awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it can also
If
become.
anything, you just promote the person
Yep.
of that culture
Instead of trying to
rather
do
than
it
actually
yourself.
doing it yourself.
That's
I
true.
agree.
Wait, I just thought of that. Like, go check out their TikTok or whatever. But
Exactly.
But I learned it can become like, what if someone culturally appropriates and then they make the excuse that they're just trying to educate, and bring awareness.
They get canceled either way, I think.
Yeah, they will. But like, you
Mm.
can't let them rely on that excuse.
Do we have experience with cultural appropriation and appreciation? I recently saw a TikTok that was like this K-pop group performed in Mexico, and they like came out in like sombreros, and they had like mustaches and all that, and it was like people were mad because they were obviously like stereotyping the culture.
Yep.
But who are mad?
I don't the TikTok comments.
TikTok comments?
Yeah.
Well, like, how about the people that are watching the show? Were they mad?
I was mad. I thought that was like genuinely like stupid. It's like it's like if someone performed in China and they wore like the typical Chinese hat and put on a skinny mustache.
It reminds me of like the rice farmer hats, like when people wear
Exactly.
those, like, and then they mock the accent. Like, what is that?
Yeah,
It's so
that's
stupid.
straight up like
Like a sombrero
racism
mustache are the
stereotypes.
exact same thing as doing that.
Exactly.
That reminds me of this thing that a lot of models and Instagram influencers did. They do this pose where they like kind of slant their eyes.
topic
and I didn't know how to feel about it. I did feel like it wasn't like they had malicious intent and they were
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I'm doing the Asian eye slant." They were just trying to get this fox eye look, and
People were mad because like something that Asians were mocked about is
Yeah.
now
I
like
was
seen
gonna
as
bring that up.
beautiful.
I remember
beautiful.
like back in middle or in elementary school, I would be mocked by some other kids, and then they would like
Mhm.
do this and say like chink and then ching chong and shit like that.
Yep.
yeah.
And then like seeing it now that like, oh, that's actually like
And now the slant
standard.
eye,
Yeah.
everyone wants a slant eye. Bella
No,
Hadid
it's-
has a slant eye.
Yep. That's why a lot of people gatekeep like their culture. Well, gatekeep is like too like aggressive of a word, but people want to protect their culture because of what people did in the past to it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think that fox eye trend is. I think it depends on the context. A lot of people think context is really important because in those cases, like let's say someone was like posing like that, and whether it was like an accident, their hand just happened to be like that.
Mhm.
I don't think you deserve a lot of hate. I think if it's like, oh, like don't do that or like take this post down,
Yep.
because like if you weren't purposely doing it and you weren't aware, then all you got to do is like take it down, say like, oh, sorry, obviously it wasn't my intention. Sorry to everyone I offended,
Mhm.
and that's it. Like there's no need to be like, oh, you gotta cancel her, harass her or any of that.
Yeah, because like canceling
Or him.
someone's whole account over like one mistake, I feel like as bad as like what they did was, it's too harsh in a sense.
And a lot of times it wasn't intentional, so
Yeah.
it's just like, why be so aggressive with it?
These are like teenagers. Like you should like educate them.
But
And
it's
I-
not your job to educate.
And I
them.
think
You're right.
like something that I see a lot that really bothers me is that sometimes the majority of the people who are mad
Is
aren't part
Yeah,
of
that's
the
what I was
culture.
talking
Oh,
about.
in the comments, they're like they put the person
They're white
responding. It's like the
people.
white
Yeah.
like,
Like they're
emoji.
speaking for the culture,
Yeah.
even though they're
Yeah.
not
And
part
but
of it.
the people of the culture are like, oh, it's fine.
See, that's
like
where the
it's not.
savior complex comes in.
Yeah.
Yo.
Or even worse, when they forgive them for like
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. that-
okay, yes.
That's something else.
Oh
That's
my
something else.
God.
I forgive you. I'm white. Like what?
I'm sorry for this very offensive thing I did. Oh,
That's
don't
okay,
worry.
we
it's
forgive you. It's
okay.
Mackenzie.
Yeah. Like what?
Mackenzie said it too.
Mackenzie forgives her for using the N-word, guys. She forgives her.
Like what makes him think they have the right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what? You're not that race, part of that culture. Like
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. That is where
You know
it's
what? They
interesting.
forgive him from cancel culture. That's what they forgive him.
That's true. But then there's like other parts where it's like, well, you don't speak for our entire like culture or
Mhm.
race or whatever. So even if you forgive her, we don't. But who's you? You don't speak for them. They forgive her. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just up to you. It's up to you individually. There's no right answer. It's whatever like you believe and what offends you. Do we have experiences with cultural appropriation or appreciation? I guess you said yours, Mark. That's like
Wait.
in elementary.
Wait,
So
was it cultural appropriation?
I think that's just racism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is racism.
Cultural
A lot of
appropriation.
cultural appropriation could just be racism, like
Yeah.
stereotypes.
But like cultural appropriation specifically, I don't think so.
Same.
It's not always racism, obviously.
For me, like the most I've experienced it is seeing others wear costumes. Like, dude, that rice farmer hat, there's always someone wearing that at school every year on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, and like sometimes they're not even Asian, they just wear it.
Yeah.
and then like they mock the accent. It's a racism and appropriation. It's everything.
The sombrero is really
Sombreros
stupid.
always as well.
stupid.
Like people of their own like our high school's Hispanic, so it's like a lot of them wear and it's fine.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed though, like I see other Asian kids, they sort of like, mock the stereotype as well.
They mock their own culture.
Yeah, they mock.
I've seen that to
just
fit
so
in.
that they can fit in.
Yeah, and so
The
people
white
don't mock
male
them about it. Because if you
validation.
mock your own like culture, people won't mock you about it. Or in
Yeah.
general, if you mock something, people won't mock it anymore.
Yeah.
But like they're just they're disrespecting their own culture.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. Like people call themselves like I know like a lot of Asian girls like in middle school, which like they're just in middle school, so they don't know, and they probably
Yeah.
like mature from that. But then they would call each other like Ling Ling and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Like Ling Ling, I like come on now,
Exactly.
come on.
It
But-
makes me so angry. Like
yeah.
seeing people make jokes about like, oh, I'm eating a bat, I'm eating dog, and then
Yeah.
like makes me so mad.
They'll do
Like,
anything to
why
try
are
to
you
humor like
why are
these
you
racist ass
doing this?
people.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I ate my dog.
And
I
then
don't-
you-
You're
Uh-huh.
tolerating this behavior. You're
Exactly,
encouraging
and then
it.
I'm not gonna lie though, like that was me too. Like the dog part for sure, I would like make jokes like that, and that's because that's because
Sorry to interrupt, but the camera died, so no camera for Marker Isaac.
unfortunately.
Anyways,
sad.
go ahead, Mark.
Like I said, I would I would make Asian jokes back in middle school, just so that I could fit in with everybody else. Because everybody else was doing it, so I thought that I had to do it for their validation. So if you're listening to this right now and you're still making Asian jokes as an Asian, I suggest that you don't have to make the Asian jokes to make people laugh.
Yeah.
You can make other jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do it.
And don't be afraid to call someone out when they do.
Yeah.
Because you just feel inclined to be like, oh, haha, so funny.
And
Yeah.
for
And it's
real.
not fucking funny,
That's
so
part
don't
of
do
the,
it.
the issue too. You're enabling it.
So
by
true.
doing
So
that.
true.
There's no camera there. You're enabling it when you do that.
You think there's like some sort of, I don't know, like taking the power away from it by doing it yourself, of being like, you can't make it, but I can make that joke.
Yeah, I think about that too sometimes, but it just depends on on the intention. Because if you're just doing it just to have a laugh, just to make other people laugh,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not doing it because of it's a power thing. You're doing it because it's for other people.
Yep.
Yeah. When you make like a stereotypical joke and someone that's white laughs.
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing?
Why
You're
you
not
laughing?
allowed to laugh.
Only I can laugh.
Yo. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things is like, what are the vital steps to becoming more aware about appropriation, appreciation, and overall becoming a wiser and more respectful person?
I think you're saying what are the steps to?
Yeah, like what are some
Okay.
things you could do to be more aware about it and
I
just become
think-
better?
Just before you wear like a cultural item or piece
Mhm.
of clothing, jewelry, anything, try to do some research behind it.
No, don't try. Actually do it.
Oh yeah, don't do it.
Do the
Do
research.
research behind it, and if you can, maybe talk to somebody from that culture and see their perspective and if they think it's cultural appropriation. Because you can read facts and everything, but at the end of the day, I think it's most important to talk to somebody that's in that culture and to see if they would find it offensive.
And why are you wearing it?
Think about your
Yeah.
intentions
Yeah.
behind
Is there a
it
good
too.
reason, or do you just
True.
want to?
Mhm.
And like a good way to think about it is think about how people of that culture would feel if you wore that thing. Like put yourself in their own shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And also just now if you're gonna wear something, just like educate yourself in general. Because you never know if you're gonna like come in contact with someone of that culture and in a way you can disrespect their culture, you know?
Yeah. There was this interesting situation because I went to Goodwill and I saw this shirt and I was like, oh, this is a cool shirt. And then I looked closer
Mhm.
and it had like, you know how a lot of traditional, or not even know if it's traditional, but just Chinese clothing in general is like, let's say it's like a red shirt and then it has like a silk imprint and it's like a dragon or like flowers or fire, whatever, right? So it's kind of like, yeah. And so I was at Goodwill and I was like looking around and I saw this shirt. And I looked and I saw they had like the imprints and the patterns of like dragons or not even symbols, just like patterns and stuff. And it looked like something that was like looked very like traditionally like Chinese or whatnot. And I thought it was interesting because I was like, oh shoot, this is really cool, but is it like cultural? I didn't get it. And I was like, I wonder if it was like cultural or if it was just like what's the word? You see, I don't know the word for it, but is it like religious or sacred, or is it just kind of like, oh, it's just like one of the like I guess traditional patterns that we
Did
like
you ever
use?
like follow up with research or just kind of forgot about it?
I just forgot about it.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't get it, and I just forgot about it. So it's those situations that's like, what do you think? Because let's say, I guess maybe there's a fine line. Maybe there's some symbols and like that are like traditionally Chinese and used in Chinese like
Mhm.
clothing. So would it be wrong to wear those if you're not part of that culture?
I mean, a lot of this literally just goes back to educating yourself, and
So then if you educate yourself, is it okay?
well, by educating yourself, you're gonna understand why, like, it is okay or why it isn't okay.
True. Yeah. You're gonna
yeah.
see if it's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not like you see it's not okay and then you choose, okay, so should I still wear it?
Exactly. So you see, then I
Um,
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Pretty basic stuff. Pretty basic.
This topic is really difficult to like.
Say any
Yeah,
absolute
That's
answer.
because
true.
The answers are just subjective.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we can only say like so much too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't speak for everybody.
I do remember seeing this Instagram post. I don't know why, but I'm on Taylor Swift. Like Taylor Swift, Swifties. They get on my explore page sometimes,
Yeah.
and I actually look at their stuff. But it was about how Taylor Swift, like it was so long ago, but when she was in Japan, her and her little tour group, they dressed up as geishas, and the guys dressed up as samurais. And at first I was like, what the fuck? But then, it was because they were going on a tour that is led like tour given by Japanese people. So it was difficult to kind of make an assertion about whether that was cultural appropriation or not because people were trying to cancel her for it. And it was like
But like,
it does sound insensitive, but it's literally a tour that is
Yeah.
given by Japanese people to experience Japanese
So
culture.
were you supposed to wear that?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, if
Wait,
you were supposed to
can I
wear
share?
that, yeah.
So the thing about Japan is like they really like foreigners to wear their clothes, right? Like when I went, I wore like a kimono, which isn't an extremist wear like dressing up as a geisha, but like they're 100% like fine with foreigners wearing their clothes. That's why like if you're gonna go somewhere traditional or on a tour at a certain place, they would like you to wear like the proper attire.
That seems like it's like pretty standard because you're like being part of that culture.
Yeah, you're participating in the culture. Like obviously you could choose not to wear it, but they want you to wear it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it wouldn't make sense if you were wearing a kimono to pose on Instagram in California and LA.
That's completely different.
Yeah.
Unless like there's like a Japanese festival here,
Oh, yeah.
like a little Tokyo or something, you never know. But anything
Mhm.
else, like it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. It really all comes down to just context. Like, does the culture say you're supposed to wear this at a certain moment, or is it just kind of like a fashion thing that's like doesn't have much meaning behind it? I guess. That's what it is. Another thing that I guess might be kind of the same topic, or it might not. I'm not sure. Is like accents, right? When you imitate like a British accent, an Asian accent, a Mexican accent, whatever, right? I think it's something we've talked about before. And I always thought, like, is it like fine to mock a British accent?
That's something I noted because I know we do it a lot, and I feel like out of all the accents, it's the most normalized to imitate everywhere.
Okay. I'm very guilty of imitating the
I do
British accent.
too.
A lot of people do it.
I think we've all
and
done. We've all done it before.
We've all
It's
done
been
it.
documented
But
before.
Everyone's done it.
from my understanding, it's because British people they don't have a culture, right?
Yeah, that's why it's like they're white.
Yeah.
We
right?
can't be.
Making sure.
Biscuits
um,
and tea.
so it's like I don't know, and I don't think like we don't do it
To mock
to
them.
mock them. It's just, or do we do it to mock? I don't know.
No.
But-
So what it is, it's like apparently what I read is that like the reason people like are allowed to, I guess, mock a British accent or just impersonate one is because they're white and they haven't faced oppression over their accent.
Yeah, it's like
So it wouldn't be racist,
no.
but would
No.
it? Wouldn't it still be like prejudice?
It's mean.
It is mean,
That's
but they
about
didn't
it.
face extreme racism over it. Like Chinese accents are always imitated. Indian accents, all these accents are always imitated, and they faced racism for like the longest time.
I think like those accents, like people mock them with malicious intent.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Or to
they-
be funny, but
yeah,
it's not.
and mean and just cruel.
Yep.
And for British accents, I don't think I've met anyone who has mocked the British accent to like be like, I fucking hate the British people. Like none of that, but it's just like it's just a funny
Even if
accent
you
to
do,
use.
even if you
It's-
do, it's like
No one cares. No one's gonna
because
cancel you
you
for
could
it.
maybe it's like mean, but it's not racist because they weren't oppressed. You can't be
Mhm.
racist towards British people.
Yeah, like,
Sorry,
people mock their
Brits.
terminology, like certain terms they say, like everything.
Yeah, the
And
reason
nothing's-
that it's wrong to
No
mock
consequences.
other accents is because it's racist because their accents have been historically mocked
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
in racist ways.
It's like British people mocking an American accent.
Yeah, like we don't
Oh.
care at all.
We don't think we have an accent, but we do. Californians have this accent apparently.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
I didn't really know we had
Wait,
one.
what is it?
I think it's like a lot. You say like.
I say
Oh.
like a
Like,
lot.
yeah,
like
oh
is our
my
thing.
god,
Maybe some
dude.
water.
Like.
Water?
I'm so
Just
sorry.
Just the way we
guys.
talk and we and shui and
Yeah,
just
no. Like
or-
no.
Yeah, no,
for-
no,
for
Oh
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
that's the
no.
only
Yeah.
thing. Like,
No,
make
yeah.
our words
Like,
go
yeah,
long.
yeah.
That's a good comparison because like American accent hasn't. You've never faced like any like negative like
And plus,
racism or anything towards it.
the American accent, dude. It's like America is like has many different cultures within this country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you actually like mocking if it's everybody, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. An American accent isn't tied to a race.
Yeah, not exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So sometimes that's another thing that I don't know if it's the same topic, but what if you like I guess maybe this is self-explanatory, but let's say you like are doing a Mexican accent. No, I think that's pretty obvious.
What?
Like you shouldn't. Like let's say you're doing it not to mock them, but let's say you just like the accent. You like how it sounds, like a Spanish accent, you like a Mexican accent, you like an African accent.
Just keep it to yourself.
You just keep it to yourself,
keep it to
right?
yourself.
Like
Stay inside your head or something.
if you like it, good. Just don't go recreating it, I guess.
you know what that just reminded me of? I think it's called a black scent. Do you guys know what that is?
Oh, dude, what's it called? It's like AAPI.
Oh, something
African
like.
American vernacular.
Oh my god, I literally
Something like
saw a
that?
tweet
Yeah.
about it.
What's up?
That one is weird because a lot of people for like don't. A lot of people are like don't use like a lot of you appropriate African American vernacular English.
AAVE. AAVE.
Okay, yeah,
AAVE.
that's what it was.
A lot of people use it, and it's like common in internet culture, and a lot of people think, oh, it was made by the LGBT, and all that, but like no, it was made by like
Can you give some examples to it?
y'all,
Period.
like period,
Mhm.
like pop off, all of Stan
Sure.
Twitter, like
Basically, stand Twitter terminology.
yeah, all of it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like pop off, like just the way you like accentuate the words and be like, okay, like yes, sis, like
Yeah.
period, go off, queen.
I don't think it's a black scent, so I think that's a different thing.
Is
it's,
it?
It's AAVE, right?
Yeah, African American vernacular English.
From what I read about it, it's okay to use that terminology, but I don't know. I just remember that it said that it was acceptable, but it can also be offensive. I don't know.
No. Look here. I don't want to say any wrong info. Maybe we look fucking stupid because we're like, I don't know. I think it's this
Yeah.
without having done any like proper research.
There's a lot of information about cultures. There's just way too much, and just language system, everything, accents. So like, if people of that culture are listening, like, please educate us.
Yeah.
I know,
For
like
sure.
child, right?
No, don't educate us. We can educate ourselves. See, that's the other thing. That's like, do
That's
you
true. We can educate
others?
ourselves, but if anyone wants to, out
If
of
you
their own
want to.
will.
Yeah.
Or if somebody is coming from that specific culture.
Wants to give your viewpoint.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say like the word child, right? It's like AEVE. A lot of people use it, but I know there's like history behind that word, and it wasn't like nice. It wasn't nice like at all.
Mm.
So I don't know. Like there's a tweet that I saw that was saying why it's not okay to use that word.
Mm.
So
I don't know, but I just kind of like I never say it just because it's just annoying to me. Like so many people on TikTok and stay on Twitter, they just keep on using the terminology.
The white gaze.
White gaze especially, and it's
Mm.
just
The other
it
thing
gets
that
me.
was interesting was that there was the video of this like Asian girl that talked very like people would say like with the black sound or like very like
Oh, I seen that.
AAVE,
Mhm.
and she was saying like this is how I speak. This is just how I speak. Like I'm not impersonating anything. It's just where I
Uh-huh.
am, you know.
Mhm.
And a lot of people say that like it's actually bad to say like, oh, you can't use that word because you're not black, because it comes from like the hood or whatnot. And then it's like, well, so why are you saying like only like black people come from the hood? Like, can other races come from the hood and stuff like that?
Yeah, because I know that girl was saying too that she like grew up in that area. That's
Mhm.
the reason
I
why
think she said
talks like
she's
that.
from New York and a
That's just how
specific
they
part
talk.
of New York and stuff.
Yeah, that's just common sense, like accents and like language usage. It's like wherever you're born and like raised, you're gonna like grow up with it, and it's gonna become part of your vocabulary and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then some people can use the argument with saying the N word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
but
but
that has
that-
historical
That's
context.
different. There's a whole story behind that. Like you
That's what we were talking about earlier, right?
yeah.
The historical context behind it.
But I think like basic words like there's not gonna like y'all and the N word are like two like completely
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah. So I don't want to speak too much on
Yeah.
that because I haven't done enough research on it. All I know is that like there's a lot of different viewpoints that some people are like, yes, you can use it if you like grew up in there. Some people are like, no, not at all. It's like reserved. So it's interesting. But
Yeah.
that's it for this episode. I think just kind of like our perspectives on appreciating versus appreciation. Just the
Hopefully we
question.
didn't offend anybody.
Mhm.
We tried our best not to.
You
we
know,
just touched the surface. We really want to get more educated on it.
I think
Mhm.
the reason that we do a lot of topics that are more like friendships, mental health, sexuality is one, we have like more experience with it.
Yep.
And it's also more, I guess, something that we have like experience with, or we could like a little bit more that we could, I don't know. When it comes to
Yeah.
subjects like these, like racism, police brutality, like politics, it's kind of like
It's
there's-
not our forte.
yeah, it's not necessarily like our right answer, and like I don't like doing episodes where it's just like us reading research and spewing it back to
Same.
you guys.
Mhm.
And then being like, oh, but I don't really know.
Yeah,
Same.
Because I said that a lot.
It's because like experiencing other cultures, to get experience with that, we really have to like leave our comfort zone in our city. But we've all like really stayed here and just interacted with like people of our own culture. So
Yeah.
it's a lot harder that way as
I
well.
do think eventually I want to bring on like people from different cultures and just different parts of the world to get their
Yes.
perspective, since we can't really speak on it, and I don't think like a podcast about us giving you guys facts and research is interesting, because like that's not what we are. There's other podcasts where you could find better info, and ours is more just a conversation about our beliefs and what we think. There's this idea that I had that like each week, to go along with the episode, we go live and we take calls from people like listeners that have something to say about the subject. So if we talked about like appropriating Indian culture, we could have someone from India come on and like let us know their perspective, and then we will post like the conversation on like YouTube or on TikTok, and it'd be like a short 10-15 minute conversation. So that's like something we're thinking about doing as a way to just include you guys in the conversation and get like more perspectives. Let us know how that
Love it.
sounds. Love it.
Love
Da-da-da-da. Love it.
Love it.
You know that TikTok sound? That's what I love it. Anyways, that's it for this episode. You can follow us everywhere at Instagram, at Teenage Therapy everywhere. What else? Comment what you think about this, and just your take on appropriation versus appreciation. And turn on the notification bell, smash that like button, pound the subscribe button, pound the like button,
Pound the alarm.
pound everything. So thank you for listening, and we'll see. Oh, I almost forgot.
What's up?
Ooh, almost forgot. Ooh,
What?
almost
I-
forgot. Ooh, almost forgot.
What
I'm
is
sure
it?
someone will
What the
understand that
fuck?
reference. Ooh, almost forgot. Oh my god, almost forgot. Ooh, almost forgot.
It sounds so familiar.
I don't know.
James
what
Charles
it's from.
bloopers.
Oh.
Oh, that was the last thing I would have
Oh.
expected.
Guys, we have a PO box.
Woo!
After 2 years, finally got one.
Finally.
We
Finally
finally
got
got one.
So if you want to send us something, people kept saying get a PO box so I could send you like snacks. So please send us foreign snacks. If you're from like
Please.
Sweden, Switzerland, India, Japan, China, Canada,
UK.
Mexico, UK.
From the Brits. We love
From the
you, Brits.
Yeah,
Send some crumpets.
I know, Nigeria.
Sorry, don't get into it.
Anyway, send us
Crumpets and
something. PO box there's a post on our Instagram at Teenage Therapy. It's right now. It's a PO box 8396 Anaheim, California 92812. I hope I remember to put it in the description. If not, go on our Instagram, check it out. Send us something, a little letter, or if you want, you can send us some snacks and we'll try it on the
So
video.
see, we'll make a video for it
We will.
for sure.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.
Bye.